Hello and welcome to the GBC Productions channel. This is episode 115. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at a Lionel log loader. It's model number 364 and it barely moves. So I'll move the train out of the way. Also, the light doesn't work too well. So I'm going to disconnect this and set it up on my bench. Let's start by taking a closer look at the light, take the hood off. The socket is quite loose. It gets its ground from the frame of the entire assembly. I'm going to try to tighten these two tabs a little bit. Probably just tap it with a small hammer and it should tighten it up. As for getting at the motor, I got to take this back panel off. With the back cover off, we can see the motor and the belt. I'll just push the motor up, take the belt off. Now there's a nut here that has to come off. And now the pulley lifts off. Now there's one screw here that is the pivot for the motor. It also holds the spring in place. Here's the spring. With the motor loose, I have one wire to disconnect to get it away from the log loader. And then there's a second wire that I'll have to disconnect in order to pull the housing apart. Then I'm going to take the gearbox apart. It's got oil seeping out of it. It's going to need a good cleaning. And obviously I'm going to have to get the back apart because there's probably oil all inside this. So I have everything set aside and just the motor and gearbox are here. I'll start by pulling this back cover off. We can take a look at the brushes. Here's the brushes. They look like they have some oil on them. I'll have to clean them off. Here's the armature. It's covered in oil and grease. I'm going to have to thoroughly clean it. I'm going to have to check this bushing. Now I'll get into the gearbox. Oh yeah. It's all clumped up in places, it's dried up. This is going to have to be thoroughly cleaned. I'm going to go ahead and clean this all up and get everything ready for fresh grease, and I'll be back. Alright, I have everything ready to go back together. The grease I'm going to be using is a high slip moly synthetic grease. The first parts I'm going to use are this smaller shaft and these two bushings for it. So these go on the top and bottom. And this will slide into place here. And this is the output shaft. First off, I put this in upside down. Let me put this in the right way this time. Now the output shaft goes in. So here's how these two look. Now the armature will slide in from the back, and that can go in last. So I'm going to start to grease this. Get some grease on the gears. I'll go ahead and put the armature in now anyway. Let me zoom you in a little bit. So I'll go ahead and get everything greased. I've got to put the top of the gearbox on, and then I'll come back. Alright, the gearbox is all back together, greased and lubricated nicely. I'm not feeling any play. It feels very smooth as it rotates. Now I got to put the brushes back into this upper housing, and then this will go back in place and then reconnect the wire. All the wires are reconnected. It's just a matter of putting the motor back in place. Get the spring in place. And this long pivot screw. Sorry, my hands are in the way on this one. I'm just trying to line up the holes and get that screw in place while holding the spring in position. And I think I got it. I'll tighten this down. Now put the pulley back on. So now I just have to put the belt on and the back cover. I'm going to go ahead and do that, hook it back up to the train, and see how it operates. So the light's working fine. The motor's nice and quiet, but I have a lot of belt slippage. Looks like I have to tighten up that spring some more. Anyway, it's all greased up, the motor's working well, the light is working without flickering. Don't forget to subscribe for more, mash that like button, and comment below. Until next time, this is Uncle D from GBC Productions, signing off.